Scientists with NASA's New Horizons mission say mystery still surrounds the formation of the most distant world ever explored. That remains the key question in the first detailed findings about the distant Kuiper Belt object, 2014 MU69 Ultima Thule. As they analysed the first sets of data gathered during the mission's New Year's Day flyby, the authors quickly discovered an object far more complex than originally expected. The findings, reported in the journal Science, have revealed much about this distant world's development, geology and composition. Located some 6 billion kilometres away, Ultima Thule is the most distant object ever explored, and the first investigation of a well-preserved ancient relic from an era of planetary formation dating back some 4.6 billion years. The 36-kilometre wide Kuiper Belt object is a contact binary with two very distinct, differently shaped lobes. There's a large, strangely flat lobe, which has been nicknamed Ultima, which is connected to a smaller, somewhat more rounded lobe, nicknamed Thule. How these two lobes got their unusual shapes is an unanticipated mystery that likely relates to how they independently formed billions of years ago. Like many binary worlds in the Kuiper Belt, the paths of these two worlds eventually intersected. They became gravitationally bound and began orbiting each other. Ultimately, some process brought them together in what scientists calculate must have been a fairly gentle merger. For that to happen, much of the binary's orbital momentum must have dissipated for the objects to come together. But scientists don't know whether that was due to aerodynamic forces from gases in the ancient solar nebula, or if Ultima and Thule ejected other lobes that formed with them in order to dissipate energy and shrink their orbits. The alignment of the axes of both Ultima and Thule indicate that before the merger these two lobes must have become tidally locked, meaning that the same sides always faced each other as they orbited around a common centre of gravity. New Horizons principal investigator Alan Stern from the Southwest Research Institute in Boulder, Colorado, says discoveries about Ultima Thule can only help advance theories of solar system formation. The authors are also investigating a range of surface features on Ultima Thule, such as bright spots and patches, hills and troughs, and craters and pits. The distant world's largest depression is an 8-kilometre wide feature called Maryland Crater, which likely formed from an impact. However, it's thought some of the smaller pits on the Kuiper Belt object may have been created by material falling into internal voids, or due to exotic ices sublimating into gases and then leaving empty pits in their place. Another interesting feature is that, like other Kuiper Belt objects, Ultima Thule is extremely red in colour, even redder than the much larger 2,400-kilometre wide dwarf planet Pluto, which New Horizons explored at the inner edge of the Kuiper Belt back in 2015. In fact, Ultima Thule is the reddest outer solar system object ever visited. Its reddish hue is believed to have been caused by the modification of the organic materials on its surface. Scientists have found evidence of methanol, water ice, and organic molecules, a mixture very different from most icy objects explored previously by spacecraft. The slow drip of data being transmitted from the flyby is continuing, and will go on until the middle of next year. In the meantime, New Horizons continues to carry out new observations of additional Kuiper Belt objects it passes in the distance. These dark, frozen worlds are far too distant to reveal discoveries like those on MU69. But the team can measure aspects, such as the object's brightness. And of course, New Horizons also continues to map the charged particle radiation and dust environment of the Kuiper Belt. New Horizons was launched back on January the 19th, 2006, from the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida aboard an Atlas V rocket. The probe made history on July 14th, 2015, when it became the first spacecraft to visit Pluto, and also studied Pluto's binary partner Charon, and their 4 moons, Styx, Nix, Kerberos, and Hydra. Pluto is one of the largest known bodies in the Kuiper Belt, a ring of frozen worlds, comets, and icy debris circling the Sun out beyond the orbit of Neptune. The New Horizons spacecraft is now some 6.6 billion kilometres from Earth. It's operating nominally and speeding ever deeper into the Kuiper Belt at nearly 53,000 kilometres per hour. Ultima Thule is an ancient traditional name used to describe the most distant place known, a land well beyond the borders of the known world. In ancient Greek and Roman times, it was the place furthest north, now thought to refer to either Iceland or Greenland, although both the Orkney and Shetland Islands were also referred to as Ultima Thule in medieval times.